Well, here's my Quadrafire Discovery 2. It's heated our house for 2.5 winters now. It's January. This morning's outside temperature was about 10 degrees Fahrenheit. It's 29 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, you can convert that yourself to Celsius if you'd like. What do I like about my Discovery 2 Quadrafire wood stove? It has a beautiful fire. New Year's morning 2025. It's got covers that will hold a 12 by 12 ceramic tile. You can change the decor, the side of the stove. They also might hold some heat. This has been running. You can hold your hand on it, but it's not super comfortable. You don't want to keep it there a long time. The top gets really hot. It heats the house well. We've never really been cold with the Quadrafire, and it only takes about 20 minutes to bring it from cold to putting out some pretty good heat. Fairly fast there. The glass stays relatively clean, depending on if you burn like bur oak or Gamble's oak or Quake and aspen trees. That burns really clean. If you burn pinyon pine, it will get a little sooty on that. Now let me tell you what I don't like about my Quadrafire. To keep it cool, warm in the house and not so hot you're opening all the doors, you can only put one piece of wood in it about every 4 hours. If you put 2 or 3 pieces of wood in it, it just starts burning all that wood. The airflow kind of goes crazy and you can't shut it down to slow it down. It's going to burn till it gets down like this into the cold condition. And that's actually when you can start controlling it. The other thing is when you open the door after about 3 days, it blows ashes out of the stove. You can see how full it gets. It's got about this much depth from the bottom of the window to the bottom of the top of the bricks on the bottom. It also collects trash on the door. So when you open that door to reload the wood, it scatters debris on the floor. Of course, that makes your wife happy. If you go to bed at night and stoke it up, it runs away with itself for 2.5 hours before it kind of gets down into its mellow mode. So you can walk out here and it'll be 82 degrees, and then it cools off, and in 9 hours there'll still be coals in the bottom. You can rekindle the fire without building a new one. You rake the coals around and get them on top and give it some air, and you can keep the fire going. But about 7 to 10 hours is top burn on this. You're not going to get any better than that. 10 hours with a stack of bur oak in it. The bur oak's going to get so hot when you put it in, but it is going to last a long time. So typically at night I'll put 2 pieces of aspen wood and a piece of bur oak, and I'll try to get the aspen on one side, the bur oak on the other, and it'll burn the aspen down, light the bur oak, and then by in the morning the bur oak is still a glowing log, and that really helps. And so 80 degrees when you go to bed. You get up about 6:30, 6 o'clock. It's typically about 65 in here. I've seen it 62. But it warms right back up within an hour. You get the fire going again. So we'll change this stove out to the BlazeKing. Cost on this stove is $2,200 to $2,600 for just the stove. Cost on a BlazeKing Princess 32 is about $4,800 for just the stove. So BlazeKing's double the price. BlazeKing says, hey, we can burn 32 hours on one load of wood on low. I probably can't get that because I'm not burning red oak and stuff like that they burn back east or test with. We'll see what I can get out of it. I'll give you the real world burn test. We're about 4 days from the swap out of the BlazeKing to the Quadrafire, and we're coming up on some of the coldest days. Tomorrow morning is supposed to be 0 degrees Fahrenheit. So that'll be a good test for the stove in the next week or so. Well, let's switch over to the BlazeKing and see what it looks like. BlazeKing Princess 32. Really nice wood stove. Really even burn. This wood stove's been running steady now for 10 days. I've not cleaned the wood stove. It doesn't dump ash when you open the door. My wife loves that. I'm not sure how long I'll go before I have to clean it. I'm thinking probably at least 10 more days, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's 20 more days. That would be a 30-day burn time without cleaning it. We'll see. Please subscribe and watch my other videos, and you'll find out how long it takes me to fill the ash load up on the stove to clean it, because I'll do a video on that. Because I want to see the ash pan work and stuff like that. Really even temperature. A little bit of a learning curve to learn how to run the BlazeKing compared to a standard wood stove. You have a lot of control, so you can set things up a lot of different ways. And when I say that, it's got to do with air setting and wood load, and of course type of wood. If you put a bunch of wood in it and get it burning, and then you tighten the air all the way down on it, you'll get a long burn, but the wood doesn't seem to put out very much heat, because I think you're just above the smoldering stage. If you put in a small amount of wood and turn the air up a little bit, you don't over temperature your ceramic, and you do have a hotter fire inside the wood stove. So for me, loading it twice a day works really well. About 7:30 in the morning, I put in 3 logs, and then about 6 or 7:30 at night, I'll put in 3 or 4 more, and it runs steady. 71, 72 all night long. And in the daytime, if I want it a little warmer, which I like it a little warmer, and I know the dog does, she's all curled up on the couch on her blanket. Which ours is a small house. I would go with the King 40. Especially if you're in a basement or you're heating 2-story, the price difference isn't going to be that much more, but I think it would be better to go with a bigger stove and turn it down a little more than have a small stove and trying to get too much heat out of it all the time. But this stove is great for heating this house. Our furnace is off, our propane furnace. We just run wood, and I love it. I love the feeling of a wood heat, and this would be like in my lifetime, which is a long time, this would be the 5th wood stove I've had. And I've always tried to buy the best wood stoves I could get. In the 80s, I bought Tremont, and they were great wood stoves, and they would burn wood or coal, and they're brick-lined steel stove. And then I had a Harmon, and the Harmon was a nice stove. It heated a 1,700 square foot modular I lived in. And I had a Fisher, an old Fisher, this was way back, and I did put gaskets on the doors where you could finally slow the burn down, and it was a good stove. It put out a lot of heat. But this is the most high-tech, best controllable stove that I've ever seen, because you're not worried about how the fire is burning in the box, because the smoke is going through the catalytic unit and going out the flue at a relatively low temperature, between 200 and 300 degrees. If you live in town, in a subdivision or something like that, and you have this wood stove, you're not going to get complaints from your neighbors about, oh, he's burning his wood stove again. And I know about that because we live next to some people with a fireplace, and they put a glass front on their fireplace and tried to choke it down every night, and they just rolled white smoke out of their chimney. You couldn't breathe if you went outside. This one has a really nice burn out the chimney. A few little heat waves is all you can see, no smoke. Maybe I'll run out and get a shot of that. That's a stovepipe running. I don't think that would upset any of your neighbors. And I really enjoy enjoy making these videos. If you're going to buy a wood stove, when you go look at them, make sure you look at the BlazeKing models. Think about it a little bit. Think about not as much dirt in your house, saving a little bit of wood, not smoking out your neighbors, ease of cleaning the wood stove, and less cleaning as far as that goes. Really nice air thermostat. And you don't have to get up in the middle of the night and put wood in it. And that just and you don't have to, when you go to bed, you're not putting out so much heat that you're worried about your wood stove doing something it shouldn't do, like the glass breaking or something like that. That's what I really like. It's just really steady, seems very safe. Everything's well built on the stove. Anyway, like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Have a happy and safe 2025. And I hope to see you real soon fishing.